Hello everyone, today we're installing the siding and sheeting on our 8x8 modern lean-to shed. I'm going to show you two options that you can go for siding, and as a matter of fact I'm using both of them on the same shed. I'm going to show you how you can mix match different sidings so you can lower the cost of your shed and still give the nice look to the shed you want. Before you start installing siding or even house wrap on the shed, make sure that you have removed all braces, nails, or anything that's sticking out of the walls. Typically, on a residential construction, first you install your sheeting, then you wrap the building with the vapor barrier. For our shed, since we are using the LP Smart T111 siding, which works as sheeting and siding at the same time, we need to wrap the shed before installing the siding. Generally, sheds don't have any type of moisture or vapor barrier installed. But since we have insulated the floor and we know that in the future we're going to insulate the whole shed, this is money well worth. There are many brands, but generally only two types of vapor barrier, woven and non-woven type, which basically means that one of them is water resistant only and the other one it's both water and air resistant. Installing the vapor barrier is super simple. You secure it with staples. You can use a regular staple gun or a hammer staple like the one I'm using here. You always start at the bottom, and after each layer install, you want the next layer to overlap 6 inches. Once everything is installed, you go back and you make sure there's a staple every 12 inches going down all the studs. You can do this as you install each layer, but my preference is to install all the staples at once towards the end. Even though I try to keep the vapor barrier straight and neat as possible, I ran into some ugly corners. The takeaway here is that just try your best, and it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect. And don't forget that you need to tape all the seams. A lot of people skip this step assuming that the building is fully protected with just the installation of the vapor barrier. What's working for us here is that we already purchased this tape when we insulated the floor. And this tape is going to be sufficient to do the whole shed. And by now I have installed the vapor barrier on the whole shed. So just take a look around, and if you come across any rips or holes, you can patch it up with the tape, no problem. And now we're ready to start bringing in the T111 siding. To install the T111 siding, I'm using 2.5-inch siding shank nails. Unfortunately, this is the only size I could find in my local hardware store. If you come across a 1.5-inch siding shank nails, it's gonna make the installation much easier. You will need to drive a nail every 16 inches going down every stud. The good thing is that the cavity in the siding is actually 16 inches from the edge. So you can use that as a guide and make sure to hit the stud every time. And whenever you lay the next sheet, make sure to overlap properly. There is a mark on the each end indicating where the overlap starts and finishes. And I recommend that first you install your siding, your sheeting. In our case, the T111 is doing both the siding and the sheeting before you continue framing the roof. That's because the sheeting is going to provide shear strength to the wall, so whenever you climb on the roof to work, the shed is pretty firm and steady. Knowing all these steps can be complicated, and that's why we created a free build plan and a free list of materials for this whole shed. We're gonna leave a link on the description below for you, but if you're watching this on your TV, I'm gonna leave a QR code for you right here. These panels come at an 8-foot tall section, so whenever there's a wall taller than 8 feet, you are gonna need a transition. I'm using a 3/8 Z flashing as a transition. This flashing will push the water out that tries to penetrate behind the siding. Some people will actually choose to cover this up with a trim instead of flashing. I choose flashing because one is much cheaper than a piece of trim and also provides the right protection against water penetration. And now we get to work on the front of the shed. And for the front, I'm using the zip sheeting system. The beauty about this product is that it's weather resistant and you don't need any vapor barrier. You can install this with framing nails or screws. And to cut the door and window opening, you simply trace it with the marker and run a circular saw or a sawzall through it. And this is my approach to save money on siding of the shed and also to make the front look more appealing. I use the T111 on the side and back of the shed where less people will notice, and on the front my goal is to use lap siding and stone veneer. One thing I noticed as I was sheeting the front that I forgot to add a cripple stud above the door. And after all the panels on the front wall is installed and the doors and windows are cut, the only thing left is to install the seam tape. Now the zip system makes a very good flashing tape. Matter of fact, this is the same tape we're going to be using to install the windows and the doors. And I know this could be a lot of work for some of you, and yet if you still want to get a high quality shed, we can help you out. As a matter of fact, we can connect you with local shed dealers in your area. Just go to the description below, look for a link there, and if you're watching this on your TV, there's a QR code for you right here. Now, before we finish installing the siding on the shed, we need to install the windows and the doors. And if you want to check that out, that's right here for you. If you want to check out the whole build from beginning to end, I'm going to leave a video for you right here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.